Hello and welcome again to this edition of Meet the Candidates on WCMU. I'm David Nicholas, and we are speaking with our guest virtually this year, welcoming this time Representative Annette Glenn. She is the Republican seeking a second term to represent Michigan's 98th House District. Congratulations on the win in the August primary, and in our first minute or two, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and experience you bring to the campaign.
Well, thanks, David. It's good to be back. As you said, I'm Annette Glenn. I'm the current state representative for the 98th District, which encompasses parts of Bay and Midland counties, and I am serving my first term. I've been married 37 years. We have 5 children and 8 really great grandchildren, many that still live, work, and go to school in the area, and we are extremely blessed to call the 98th home. I grew up in a family of 7 children. My dad was a dentist and my mom was a nurse. And at age 8, we all went to work in my dad's office. And we learned to work hard, emptying those trash cans and whatever else he needed. And we got our own checkbook. And at that point in time, we learned to balance checkbooks, create a budget, and keep all of that straight even at that age. Our family always followed current events and always was involved in community service, whether it was in the neighborhood or with an organization, which kind of brings me to here. In 2018, when I was elected for the first time to serve, and shortly thereafter was appointed to the Appropriations Committee, which is where we set the state budget. I currently serve on the Health and Human Services Committee, the School Aid Committee. I vice chair Natural Resources, Environmental Quality, Insurances and Financial Services, and Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. And then I chair Military and Veteran Affairs and Michigan State Police. And it has truly been an honor to represent the constituents here in Bay and Midland County when I'm not working on the budget. Some of the legislation I have worked on protects children from abuse and neglect, protects victims of human trafficking, protects people from sexual assault. I've got legislation that increases government accountability and really focuses on ensuring critical funding for literacy program, which includes ensuring that our kids are safely able to be educated this fall in the midst of everything we're dealing with. So it's been an honor to be on the job and a privilege to serve this amazing district.
As you seek a re-election to a second term, then you've highlighted some of those things accomplished in the first term. The key issues then that you as candidate or the voters you've spoken with that are identifying as the key issues in this particular campaign?
Well, I can tell you in our district here, the things I hear most about are the coronavirus and also flooding. So let's start with what I hear most about coronavirus. We still have a large number of people that are struggling to get their unemployment claims met. And we have helped hundreds, but we still have a lot more to work on. So recently, I reached out to the governor's office, encouraging her to open up those offices in person. The Secretary of State's offices have been open by appointment, and I would really like to see our unemployment offices open. So instead of trading phone calls and trying to catch each other, we could shorten that time frame from those requests for the money that is theirs and get it to them quickly. So that's going to be something has been a big issue. And then executive orders. Our state has the most executive orders of any state. And every time a new one comes out, we get calls from the office or at home asking, how's this going to affect my family? Is this going to impact schools? How's it going to work with sports? Most recently is how does this affect sports? And then a lot of this business that I work in, how does that impact me going to work? And how does that impact if I'm the business owner and my employees, and what do we do? And then a lot of sad phone calls about family members not being able to visit family members in nursing homes. Those are really tough phone calls to take. Now, while the governor and I haven't always agreed on everything, there have been some things during this that we have partnered well together on. We had a notary reach out to me. She'd submitted her paperwork, sent in her payment, and because of the remote work, things were not moving very quickly. And where other things like driver's licenses had been extended, notaries were one that had not been included in that. And that was really that worked out really well. We reached out to the legislative office in the governor's office, and within 48 hours, that was included in an executive order and taken care of. So that's been a great. Another thing that we partnered together on has to do with the SNAP benefits for our food assistance. If you remember early on, we were trying to keep people as home as possible and really stressing if you can get your groceries remote, it would be better, but the SNAP benefits did not allow that. So we reached out to the Department of Health and Human Services, asking them to apply for a waiver that would allow that. So that has been a benefit to a lot of people as well. We also hosted a teletown hall with medical experts to be able to answer questions throughout that, and have just continued to work with the governor to say, what is it that we can do safely? What can we work on together? And what is maybe a good fit to happen here in Midland and Bay counties, which is maybe not a good fit in Detroit or Grand Rapids, and looking at a regional approach where we can do things safely and take care of our community on a regional approach instead of a statewide approach.
What are some of those specific proposals you would look to then, because all of these point to the impact, a lot of that on the economic terms and the impact that and the hit that the economy has taken statewide, including in your area. What would you specifically propose then in terms of the rebuild, the restart, getting the economic engine moving again?
Well, I think one of the best ways to determine what you want is to look at where things are happening successfully and safely. So looking at other states and how they have opened specific industries. I know early on, we were one of the few that did not allow lawn care, and that's now open. That has been a huge benefit, especially for our seniors to have people coming in to help. I know we're opening up slowly, but there's lots of questions about movie theaters. If you can be on an airplane safely, is there a way to do movie theaters safely? So just continuing to have that dialogue and walk down that path to see what we can do. Another thing that we worked on was the Return to Learn package. That was a bipartisan package, looking for what we can do, partnering our education system with our local health departments to determine what could be done in those areas. And that was bipartisan, signed by the governor, and I think it's working really well throughout the state. Each school is able to determine, along with the health department, what is going to be the best fit for their parents, their staff, their teachers, and the students, which is right. That's what school's all about. What can we do safely for the students? So this flexibility allows us to continue to provide that foundation grant and school aid funding, even if the kids choose to be remote. And as you know, there's a good number of schools that have chosen, the whole districts have chosen to be completely remote. Here we've got some hybrids that are going on, in-person classes and remote options. So that flexibility, I think, has been huge.
If we look at specifically education, then are there particular challenges, proposals you would have kind of continuing on, building on Return to Learn as the schools have now entered this year, what challenges they are facing as they have reopened, and we've had either students in the classroom, students at home. What would you propose that we continue to work on as far as strengthening and stabilizing the education system?
So David, I think what we provided with the Return to Learn has been the great flexibility that allows us, the school district, to decide what is the best program for them. That flexibility is in there. So if they've decided that they're all remote and that it's time to be able to bring some kids back in, they don't need permission from the state to make that decision. They can make that automatically at whatever time they think it is best for them. If they have partnered with a specific company that is providing their virtual learning and that's not working, they have the opportunity to swap out and find something that works better for them. I know we've got some districts that have bought a program which has the teacher in the classroom teaching remotely while the kids are virtual. And so they're using the curriculum that the kids are used to, that they've had and are used to from the school system. So they use their own schools instead of working with somebody else. So lots of flexibility and lots of options across lots of schools.
About 4 minutes left with Representative Annette Glenn, the incumbent seeking a second term for the 98th District. And you mentioned, in addition to COVID-19, the flooding, a very unique issue, obviously, to your area that you hope to represent once again, and obviously an impact on many levels, including economic. What are you proposing to continue to do, and new approaches that will need to be taken as the area continues to recover from that 500-year flood event in May?
Well, the first thing I always have to do is give a major shout out to our first responders. Our dam had what was called a high hazard rating, which meant we were expected to lose life if it ever failed. And we lost not one, but 2 dams and the breach of a third. And they were able to evacuate over 11,000 people with not only no loss of life, but no significant injuries as well. And that just is a huge testament to the skills and bravery of our first responders. I know a good number of them didn't know if they had homes to return to as they continue to evacuate and work with others. we had, within 3 days, I know some of the biggest needs were just getting down and helping people clean out their houses and their businesses. And we put together a volunteer group called Hero Helpers. And within a short period of time, some of the other legislators heard about that and came in to help, which worked out really great for them to see firsthand the devastation here, so that when we have asked for funding, that we have been able to get huge bipartisan support. So we've been able to bring in $6 million in a supplemental into the area. And then the recent budget just provided an additional $15 million for engineering and environmental response to help us build these back. We'll be continuing to look for what we can do, but I can tell you still boots on the ground, hands in the dirt, helping your neighbors is still a big need. Making sure we've got open lines of communication so that we can partner with them and connect them to the resources they need. If it's housing, it's 211. If it's FEMA money, if they're looking to see what's covered. Small Business Administration has come in a number of times to talk to us about what they can provide and how they can partner with us, and also rural development. So all I can tell you is I am looking forward to continuing to look for what resources we can have here, what we can build together. A huge shout out to our foundations, United Way. And we had a large number of businesses that have also agreed to come in and help with cleanup just as volunteers, and that has been huge. So continuing to partner together to get as much done for recovery and to rebuild as soon as we can.
About a minute and a half left. We want to leave the last 30 seconds or so for a final message. Is there another issue you would identify as key to this campaign, or other specific proposals from what you've covered thus far that you would put before the voters right now?
Well, there is a long list of things that I'm always interested in working in, but literacy is always going to be one of my top priorities. Our state has, like 50% of our kids that are not reading at grade level. That really penalizes and keeps them from future success. So I will be spending as much time as possible trying to put that together, and that will be a lifelong priority to continue to push out literacy, because if those kids are reading, we open up the world and they can do anything they want. And if we're not providing that, we're penalizing them and creating that school to prison pipeline that we can't have happening.
In our final half minute then, a final message that you would want to put before the voters to them as they get set to go to the polls. What would that message be?
Well, David, thank you for having me here. And I would just tell the citizens and the constituents in the 98th district that it has been a humbling experience to serve you, that there has been no greater privilege in my life to work hand in hand with you as we rebuild and recover together. I look forward to partnering with you to do more and do better and to continue to rebuild and recover together. And I would really appreciate your support. Thank you.
And we appreciate your time as well, speaking with us, and to the potential voters in the 98th House District race. Good luck with the rest of the campaign. Stay safe, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you, David. Thanks for having me.
We've been speaking with Representative Annette Glenn, the Republican seeking a second term to represent Michigan's 98th House District. All qualifying candidates under Michigan election law were invited to participate in this series. We'll keep you up to date on air dates and times, and hope that you'll have a chance to join us again. And please do get out and exercise your right to vote on Tuesday, November 3rd.